Oh, I can close laps at that too. Let's go. Anything else?
Wait, what the heck? Why are you so much faster than me?
What do you mean?
I was like, I just reloaded the page, and I was at 2 minutes, and you're like at 140 minutes. I was like, what the heck?
I'm at 134.
3.
Why are you so fast?
1:30. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 125.
You're both ahead of me.
Now I gotta change my. I want to change my stream name to Yo Content Pog. Overwatch 2 content, baby.
1 minute.
Yo, live is in the chat. Holy shit! What's going on, live? Haven't talked to you in a while.
True.
47 seconds.
Let's go.
I knew Sojourn was Canadian, but I didn't think Farah was.
Farah's Egyptian.
But why was the Canadian? Why was she on the Canadian page for the Canadian cookies? So
Maybe your dad's Canadian?
Oh, it's because I'm watching so much stuff.
Are you sure Anna's not Egyptian?
Anna's Egyptian, I know that.
Yeah. I mean,
But isn't
Farah's her father, her mother.
Farah's dad like Canadian? Pretty sure he is.
Maybe Farah and Sojourn are related.
Crazy.
3, 2,
half sisters.
1. Let's
0.
go.
Hello and welcome one and all. My name is Zoe Schwind and I have the utmost pleasure of hosting this Overwatch 2 Developer Livestream where we will talk about the upcoming Overwatch 2 beta, the alpha, and the general approach to content as well as communication.
Am I still streaming on Discord?
To answer some of the many questions I know that we all have after the
Wait, you guys watching on my stream on Discord?
No other than
I was just
Eric Keller, our game director.
I was trying to, but it was taking too much CPU power. How long would I have to stay in the target?
Yo, John Spector looks like he's trying not to smile.
No, you. Good.
I have that headset.
Move this down a little bit, or actually move it up.
Of the people on the team who have been working on this for years to now be able to show that to players, and we're a month and change away from being able to do that, and the beta has just been amazing, and for me
he's
personally,
a level
it's
for
just
his glasses.
so exciting to
God.
be here now and have the chance to talk a little bit more about what
That's going to irritate me the full stream.
Well, I can't wait to chat about not only the announcements made during the developer update, but also, pick your brains about some first impressions regarding the Overwatch 2 Alpha, which is up and running as we speak. But let's take a few steps back to find out how we actually got here in terms of release/schedule, I guess, with Overwatch 2. When and why did you guys decide to more or less split the game in two?
So that's a really good question, and it is something we have talked about a lot, especially recently and over the last year. And I think
you can see
like really put it in perspective, it's important to talk about two values that are core to development for Overwatch. And the first is to always be delivering regular content to the game and updating it and keeping it feeling fresh and exciting. And the second value, and I think that this is a value, it's not just an Overwatch value, it's a value that all of Blizzard shares, and it's to release a game when we feel like it's ready, and when we feel like it's great. And so you take those two values, and then in light of the team kind of choosing this strategy to focus on Overwatch 2.
Zoe?
And to put a lot of resources into the campaign and the hero mode for that side of the game, it left the live service with less focus. And by doing that, it put us in like this really difficult position. So
show us content.
We could either and it put us in a difficult position because like those two sides of the game were now like tied together. So like Overwatch live support was now tied to development on Overwatch 2 systems and features. And that's it's a difficult spot to be in because suddenly you have like these two core values that aren't aligning with each other anymore.
So is glasses, like, they're not aligning at all.
Let's just get Overwatch 2 out as fast as we possibly can, so that we can start supporting the live game some more.
Talking in circles, Terry. What the hell? I got called out.
Before we actually think it's ready. That it goes against everything that I think Blizzard stands for, or is it, hey, let's keep working on Overwatch 2.
I don't like being stared at.
Release everything when we think it's great. And have this gap stretch on longer and longer, and we couldn't do that. So in essence, us kind of like splitting both sides of the game from each other is a way for us to start addressing this problem. I love this company. There's like so many talented people here. I've been working here almost 20 years, and like, and one of the reasons that I'm here is because I feel like when Blizzard releases a game, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing, and that it's also going to have a high level of support to it. And so I think pulling these two parts of the game away from each other is our way of addressing all of that, keeping those core values at the same time, and still being able to deliver an amazing experience for Overwatch 2.
And I think the feedback to that strategic move has been overarchingly very, very positive. I know we're all just so excited to see everything which has been shared from you guys last week. But there has been a big communication drought in Overwatch in the past. So how will your team
fix the glasses,
ensure that things will be different now? Like how frequent should or can we
them back in place? What the hell?
Some meaningful communication updates heading our way.
People are posting.
Yeah, it's not an excuse, but it's sort of more of an explanation. I think part of the reason why we didn't do as good of a job over the last several months in communicating as we wanted to was, as we were sort of making this shift in strategy that Aaron just talked about, it's sort of challenging to talk about that until you figured out
is tilt his head. Look a lot
exactly how we were going to land that plan, our ability to deliver against it, and all of those things. And so I think the whole team understands that collectively we needed to do a better job. And going forward, we need to do a better job of communicating with our players. We made that renewed promise in the update that Aaron shared last week. And I think there's still some skepticism, right? Of, well, they've said this before. Do you actually mean it this time? Our hope is that we're here a week later, coming back and talking to players again, sharing more information, talking about how the alpha's going, all of that stuff, really in that spirit of, we made that promise, we intend to keep it. And even going forward, as we look toward our first beta test, our goal really is, even between now and then, coming out.
Someone in ML7's chat donated and said, "Take a shot every time someone says
Did the stream just pause for you?
I'd die. We would die.
No.
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 Where we can.
There.
So we know that we need to prove it.
Yo, do you see what Yara sent in chat?
Hopefully a good first step in that direction, but we have work to do there.
Yeah, definitely a trust-building exercise, but on the right track right here. I'm so glad that all three of you are joining me for a chat today. Now, we did also hear a commitment to delivering more content, but that leaves some people a little bit worried, a little bit scared with the question: has the team grown to a point where it is suddenly able to actually, support that increase in content?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to talk about. The original Overwatch team, when the game
I was not paying attention. I looked to the left of my
screen.
What the fuck is she doing?
And it was really small.
That's scary.
And we did quickly start growing as we started adding more features to the game.
There's 32,000 people in this.
But we're talking about a much bigger experience now.
So
and
wacky.
We're talking about adding a lot more content to the game than we have in the past, especially the past.
Hey, I'm wearing a blue shirt.
And to do it just takes more
time,
and so we
I saw somebody in chat say, "Hi, everyone who's wearing a blue shirt."
I mean, Aaron and Zoe is.
We're going to continue.
That guy on the right is not wearing a
on
single
top of
shirt.
that. And,
It's pre-recorded. SMS.
We're working on a
He's
new
in bed,
big
laying
thing,
down.
right? And it's, we talk about Overwatch 2 a lot, but
Enjoying
like,
his
I
three
kind of
hand
feel like we
sandwiches.
have the Overwatch
Just
team.
green screen. He painted everything from the neck down green
as well. It's this collection of like amazingly talented individuals that all had a love for Blizzard and a love for Overwatch. And
Mostly
a
got a good
desire to
artist.
come and help create more things for this game. And
It's
we
just
are
so hot in his
lucky
house, so he
to
just
have
had to
all
get
of them.
some body
And
paint.
at the same time,
Hold up. Is anyone watching my
we
stream on
we
Twitch?
still have like this amazing.
Then you'd just be
core
echoing.
group,
Jay's
that helped
and
ship
Emma's
the
said
first
that.
game.
I'm
Like
gonna
all
put
of
my
the
Twitch
directors
chat
on
right
our
where
team,
John's.
or most of them, were all
Right where
there
John
for the
is.
inception of the original game. We
You
have
keep it from distracting.
like multiple designers on this team that have all been at Blizzard for over 20 years,
what's
and
the stream?
including Jeff Goodman.
Twitch.tv/TE
bring like this
4 Z's and 2
incredible
A's.
amount of sort of
I'm
like
streaming too, so if you want to watch
experience and
mine.
knowledge of the game.
You probably just
with
click my
them.
Discord and it'll show up.
And so
Yeah, same with
so
me.
the team is growing, and it's important for us to keep growing. And it's
Fix
all
his glasses
because
a
we
little
want
bit.
to be able to support the game as much as we possibly can.
There's certainly no lack of.
Oh, they are
talent in
live.
this
Holy
team
shit,
or
it's
any
not
team
pre-recorded.
at
It's
Blizzard,
not
really.
pre-recorded.
And, I can
no.
see our chat is also complimenting our ability to stare into the camera. We're very good at that. What can you say? Like the deadpan stares, it's perfection at this
Really
point.
good
It
at
really is.
staring.
Now,
impressive.
Aaron, I heard you saying live
Jeff
service
talked at
earlier.
all?
This is something we hear
He's
you guys
talked a lot.
mention quite a bit in the past as well. But what does live service actually mean to the Overwatch team and to Overwatch itself?
Yeah, so live service, I get that it's sort of like an industry label or an industry term, and the way that we kind of talk about it internally is more of Overwatch being a living game.
That heart has not beat it in years.
There's a bunch of components to that. So we want the game to feel like it has like a regular heartbeat to it. And some of that just comes with regular updates to the game. And we want people to be able to like expect more content coming, and even a lot of times expect the type of content that's going to be coming to the game. And when we do that and we do it right, I feel like it is always keeping the game fresh, and it's also like changing the game. So especially like different types of things that we release, from like new maps to new game modes, and especially new heroes, things like that actually change the way that the game is played on a fundamental level sometimes. And I think that's really exciting for players. And this isn't quite answering the question, but to even talk about the past a little bit, like
content for years now, Aaron.
Kind of like
where the hell is it?
I mean, they could have came up with a voice line in this time that he's talking.
Developing Overwatch 2, we stopped releasing heroes to the game. And there was
Aaron, the last update gave us 2 fucking skins.
Overwatch was maybe in one of the best balance places that it had ever been in, but people still wanted there to be changes to the game. And when we make like balance changes to the game,
they really didn't have to make a new game. They really did
something that's elevating the game and making it better, and we're in like this really awkward position of like, well,
I just
the
saw
game's
the
in like a really great spot,
twice.
but people want changes to it.
I got so bored.
Further back in the past, when we were releasing more heroes to the game, that wasn't really the problem.
I would have sorted my
meta was
Pokemon
always
cards by
changing.
then.
There was always like different strategies
I have a
that
whole
were happening
fucking
because there was
box. I
just
sorted them
enough
at 3 a.m.
added to the
and I've done it faster than these guys are talking about Overwatch too.
It felt like this living experience and this thing that people would react to. And there's other types of content in there too. Like if you think about some of the features that we've released since launch of the game, like right after we launched, we released the competitive system.
If they bring up crossplay, it's the laziest implementation of crossplay I've seen.
Kind of change the way people think about and play the game. And so part of like a living game and a living experience is to continually be releasing content and features like that. And then
I got
like the last part of that is,
if you see this, blink twice.
Want the game
you have
to
socks on.
have a connection to the real world and to kind of reflect what's happening in the real world. We love that our game is set actually on Earth, and that people are able to relate to a lot of the different heroes and locations that we have there.
Camera and blink
we also
twice.
like to update it with things like a Halloween
oh my god, he
event
actually blinked twice.
A Lunar New Year event, things that actually represent parts of our everyday experiences. And so like continuing to add pieces of content like that and updating those is all part of a living game, or like our interpretation of what a live service game is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, as happy as I am to play Junkenstein Revenge for the next 10 years of my life, I also appreciate new content coming our way. Now, I want to shift gears. I want to talk about the alpha as well as the upcoming beta. We know the alpha is up and running. The beta just on the horizon. What are your main goals for the alpha as well as the beta? What kind of performance benchmarks, I guess,
did you
set yourself for either of those two?
Nothing.
Well, for me and my team, you know, we're very focused on hero balance. I like that Aaron just said the game was perfectly balanced a little bit ago. That's that went over really well. The alpha's not quite that way yet, I will say. You know, we made a ton of changes, so certainly 5v5 and a bunch of reworks and stuff has just caused like mass chaos. And especially because, you know, we're in a place where we've played the game ourselves for a long time now, and you know, we have our own sort of internal meta, which is always very different than the external meta, especially when the game hasn't been out. So it's sort of like pretty quickly got a lot of feedback about a lot of stuff that was pretty overpowered. So you know, we have been reacting really quickly and trying to get some changes out there, but it's been super exciting.
I think that there's a lot of interesting things that are happening now that other people are playing it, and Jeff was alluding to it, but there's also like a lot of different skill levels that are in the alpha too. So we don't have Overwatch League players on the development team. And
I'm honestly gonna find out more about Overwatch.
To see the way that they play the game,
watching
where it could take me.
So is fascinating.
And just looking at the journey now,
it's almost like we get two sets of feedback sometimes, or a spectrum of feedback for our game, because it plays pretty differently between like mid skills to high skills, and then like that upper echelon of skill that's there. You know, like you think about the aim, like, and the precision that some of these people play with. It really affects some of the like decisions and the way that we think about the game. And so like it's great to get
it looks so intentional too,
it's
right?
also nice to get like a new perspective from
the blink I'll
put as well. And it's something that we're not really able to get on the team, and now we're able to get as we're watching like a whole new set.
Somebody said in chat,
jump into the game.
Blink twice
really
if you have socks on.
Some of the balance pieces that we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, with
there's one.
Actually, all due respect to my colleagues on the dev team, like playing against Jake on the alpha is a different experience.
I know.
That happened to me like 3 matches in a row the other night. Thanks, Jake.
Got the wads.
And it's like there's some of that that's really helpful. I think particularly for the folks on the design side of things. There's also a bunch of like less kind of cool goals for the alpha and the upcoming beta of like stability and testing servers and matchmaking systems. And there's a whole bunch of things where changing systems under the hood like we have and moving to 5v5 and what impact does that have on our queue times and how we do matchmaking and all of those types of things, where it's sort of a little bit less like in your face as a player than, hey, there's a new hero, or we've reworked some of the other heroes or changed balance, but it's also really important for our team.
Yeah, I guess the more data points you can collect from every angle, the better the end result will be. Now, of course, also the more feedback you get, the more comprehensive your feedback is. So I do wonder, how are people actually chosen for the alpha and beta? How do you choose who should come in to give you feedback and who shouldn't?
I said in chat, if they didn't say
for the
the stream would have been over by now.
It's the vast majority of players in there are actually our fellow Blizzard employees. And then we have pros, basically some of like our family members, like my little brothers in the alpha.
Always gonna hear it now.
I think for a lot of the members of the dev team, being able to invite in even just one or two of their friends is really cool. And then there's a small handful of others, but it really is this this pretty tight group. And again, the spirit of the alpha is to go from just a couple hundred of us testing up to several thousand people when you include Blizzard employees in there, and really to be able to then
that's just a streamer
get
with
enough
extra
feedback over this period where by the time that we launch the beta, we've had the opportunity to take a couple of passes at addressing bugs and other types of things like that, some balance changes that we can talk more about, that type of stuff. For the beta, honestly, we've been blown away by just the enthusiasm for it. I think I speak on behalf of all of the poor people on our server and website team.
Bad servers.
They were prepared too, and it still crashed the server. So we've just been, honestly, all of us, I think, humbled and genuinely feeling really grateful seeing the positive response to that. I think later today, or in a little bit, we're actually going to be able to update the beta sign-up site with an FAQ for players that talks a little bit more about how we plan to select players in the beta, what that process will look like. But our goal, I think, broadly for the first beta is to bring in players in a broad range of skill levels, a broad range of regions, different system configurations. Like
I'll volunteer as a gold player
and those types of things.
I volunteered as bottom
1,000 having a broad and representative test as we continue to roll out this content and get a chance for players to get their hands on it and for our team to get all of that feedback.
As bronze
no surprises
damage.
at all that the website crashed. So you're trying to be prepared, but just can't be. Just never be prepared for that. Now you said broad spectrum.
No!
I saw some people in chat asking already, and obviously all over the internet, console players. Will they be able to get their hands on the beta as well? Will they have a chance to try it out before it goes live?
So for this first beta, we are keeping it to PC only. But while I can't really get into the details of it now, like, we do want to include console players at a future point in our beta testing program, and we're working toward doing that.
All right. Well, that's good to know. There you have it, console players. You're welcome. We know that our players, our pro players, are currently wilding out.
I thought there was.
Can you speak to what the reception and feedback from them has been like so far? Like how extensive, helpful, or even eye-opening that kind of feedback from that pro level has been for you guys?
In some ways, it's been like surprising, and in some ways, it hasn't. I guess I'm really happy at just the amount of feedback we're getting. It's been great. It's sort of, we have these channels open to communication. There's like a flood of information. I'm kind of disseminating it to my team. We're deciding what to do all the time, but it's been really amazing seeing what they do with the reworks, and they pretty quickly called out things that were kind of overpowered that we were worried about. So that, I guess that's good and bad. Obviously Sojourn's in there, and she's kind of based on this railgun. So, I mean, that's a hyper accurate, high damage weapon. Obviously the pros are going to be pretty good with that. So, something we were worried about, and it pretty much immediately came to light. So, originally when we were looking at this alpha, we weren't sure how many times we were going to be able to update it. We thought maybe we would just be able to, put it out there and gather a lot of feedback and then maybe move on to beta. But pretty quickly we were just like, okay, we need to patch, we need to make updates to this, we need to respond, we need to iterate. So we've actually been able to do that. I think we just had our first big balance patch today, actually. So we're able to sort of gather that feedback and iterate. It's been amazing, and it's really helpful.
Release beta or John gets it.
To get that new fresh eyes on everything, especially the pros, and seeing what what comes out of it.
Yeah, and there's been some like really interesting pieces of feedback too, and like from the dev team and even from a lot of the people that are playing in the alpha right now.
So by the way, this is just going to be a developers talking. I think this whole thing. There's not going to be any gameplay.
5v5 where it feels like there's.
It says Developer Livestream.
Game. It's not crazy fast, but it's sped up a little bit. They're getting stuck at chokes, especially behind something like a double barrier less than they were before. It feels like there's more space to move around the map. And then a lot of times, like you'll look at some of the Overwatch League players, and there's some of that's happening, but it's at like a different level.
Ooh,
so
less CC.
When there's only one tank,
actually playing the game,
and when there's a lot less CC out on the battlefield, because that's some of the changes that we've made here. Also, sometimes like a tracer can get into the back line and just wreak havoc because
that's her job.
It doesn't feel like there's as much that supports can do. There's not like an off tank that's peeling. There's not other like members of the team that can like sort of like counter some of the abilities that these people have. So like you'll see some of the heroes that we have, especially some of the flanking heroes like Tracer and Reaper are now like really dangerous back there. And we started getting support that's like, hey, it feels like, or we start getting feedback that it feels like our support heroes are unsupported, and that it's just that they need some work there.
What was the point of them making it 5v5?
We think that feedback's right, and so we're looking into it, and we're hoping to like preserve all of the things that we think make 5v5 great, but also be able to kind of cater it to this high skill audience, and kind of merge all of that together.
So how do you look into that kind of stuff? Like, what does the process for feedback when it comes to balance changes or concerns, especially? How does that process look like?
I mean, like usually we get a lot of feedback from a lot of different sources, but we do have like a main channel of feedback where we get kind of from everybody, which is kind of nice that it's centralized. But a lot of it's looking at different
he's home alone with no toilet paper and can't leave the bathroom.
A lot of times we're asking questions about how they're playing it or what maps they're playing on and stuff like that to sort of get better context. But a lot of the stuff that Aaron mentioned is sort of been consistent feedback. For example, that supports feel like they're just really hard to survive. Basically, they're just getting dove on. The meta is really, really fast, for better or for worse.
How do you say Zoe's last name?
That's for sure, but it's definitely
I don't
kind of this like super dive right now almost. So I mean that's something we have this opportunity now to make these changes and iterate on the game and make sure it's in a place where everyone's gonna be happy with it.
Right on. Well, I do wonder how frequent the bug fixes are currently in the alpha. Or I guess what I'm asking, what does the turnaround time from feedback / complaint to the fix look like at the moment?
I mean, it sort of depends. We actually had technically, like I said, we had the first patch today, but actually that's not even really true. We had a really small patch, I think, on Monday. So we've been able to patch, at least in this case, twice in a week.
We're so bored. We really asked what beverage.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of it depends on not necessarily sort of the tech side and how often we could patch and sort of
describe the
thing. I think it's go to Burger King and back before there's content.
Getting the feedback, and discussing it, and talking about what we want to do.
I probably find more content at Burger King.
Things, sometimes it's, we're trying. We have a
7 is so mad right now.
Really, really crazy things. And if we tiptoe,
he's like,
try to make small changes.
Did we fix the bugs? Yeah, we fixed the bugs. Bro, give us something.
I think it's maybe even too strong.
He said it's boring.
It's more sort of powerful feedback that you can combine with other feedback.
But the chat is interesting.
You can get a lot more.
That's more interesting than the whole stream.
Only thing.
Even if you think that changes,
it really is.
Maybe what you want. So we did some pretty wild stuff
use my channel point.
To see how it plays.
He said, "Wake me up when they say something."
How we've been sort of trying to get at it, and how in my opinion, I just want to make changes as much as possible because iteration is really where
I think they're trying to hold it off.
Get at like the
they really are,
balance and where the fun really is.
Yeah, we also have.
Shut up, Jeff. You're taking a shit right now. This is pre-recorded.
The balance changes, and then again, there's
does look like a
quality
green
of life. Making one of the goals of the alpha is that by the time we get to the beta, we've addressed some of the bugs that people are talking about that have impacted their experience. And our QA team has been doing an amazing job of like logging literally everything, and then it's sort of a like, how important is this thing to fix tomorrow? And some of the bugs are just like downright funny. I actually sort of wish we hadn't fixed some of them. Someone reported like Winston was too wide to fit through a door on
I'm worried. That's going to be a very strong
that got fixed. So
that Winston
choke.
See that map in beta. In fact, Winston will fit through the door. But there's like a whole bunch of that stuff that, again, when we had a couple hundred people testing this, you don't catch, and we've multiple times already been able to update
just shrink
and address
Winston.
things like that.
Easy.
A little more quality of life.
Well, I don't know how we get a shrink ray.
Just comment on that. It's definitely chaotic to try to get.
That'd be a cool weapon design.
My team trying to get these balance changes in and test. We usually try to run some internal tests too to make sure we're not doing something like really broken. And then of course QA, we're getting bug fixes from the tech side and everything. We're trying to like corral everything into one patch really quickly as fast as possible at the end. So it's
or for people that hit you.
I think we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with bugs. We're trying to hit all of the most egregious ones first. So we were able to jump on that Winston issue immediately, but there's
smart.
We had
silent but deadly
all of Sojourn's VO lines in the alpha. We didn't know when she ulted. She was just like this silent hero on the field, and people started saying like, oh, I think her ult line, it's like too quiet. I'm not really hearing it. And other people are like, I don't think I hear it at all. And we investigated it. And this was maybe like an hour into the alpha launching. It's like, oh, whoops, they're all missing. And we're even getting feedback even down to like really small things like, hey, the particle effects on this fountain aren't coming out of like the person's mouth. They're coming out of like their forehead. And they'll include like screenshots and movies of it. So it's been really
helpful. My kind of nitpicky feedback.
It's good.
We should keep that.
It's also always hard as a player, right, to figure out like, is this a feature or a bug? Like, is this that way, or is this actually something I should be reporting? Now, obviously, it's still early days in the alpha, but
how about like
have there
some
been any
actually good
surprising
information?
revelations so far regarding the new content which is featured in the alpha? Looking at the new game mode push, for example, or some of the hero rewards.
It's called a developer livestream. They didn't say.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
There's definitely been a lot of surprises on the hero side. I mean, there's some stuff that, I mean, this is like the opposite of answering your question, sort of, but it's in some ways where I was really happy to see some confirmation too, because, we had been playing internally for a long time, and like I said, our internal meta is obviously very different a lot of times, and so we were not obviously always super confident in it, but we heard a lot of concerns when we talked about 5v5 originally that only main tanks were going to really be viable, probably like Reinhardt. How do you not play Reinhardt in that situation?
Even on Watchpoint?
And internally we were like, man, it really kind of feels like the opposite. Like we're a little worried for Reinhardt, and we're a little like feeling like Diva and Zarya and are really strong. And so we just sort of like, well, I guess we'll see what happens when we put this in other people's hands. And that that's one example where it turned out that pretty much they agree that Reinhardt's maybe a little weak, and sort of the off tanks are actually kind of running the show right now. So that
Doomfist.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Talk about Doomfist a little bit.
Yeah.
Strong.
So Doomfist, probably one of the bigger reworks certainly is switch roles so that he's a tank now. So that's
it's confirmed.
It's really been super interesting getting feedback on that, because we haven't done that very often. Technically not the first time. It's
Doomfist tank
support. Originally.
Let's go.
Way back in the day. But so yeah, Doomfist has, been generally extremely positive hearing that, getting the feedback from him. And I was really scared to see what kind of feedback we're going to get, because it's so different. He's a little strong right now, so I don't know how much of the super positive feedback is coming from how strong he is, but I was really worried about him in particular.
He's probably going to be like
Ball. In our game that have
how when he
a really strong sort of feel to them, that if you play a lot, you sort of get attached
probably
to
going to make that better and give him more health.
That, especially heroes like Tracer and Genji, Doomfist, like the high mobile heroes like that. So Doomfist is definitely one of
they're
those.
Just going to like make him bigger.
Base, but from what we've
gotten
feedback on so far from the dedicated Doomfist players that we have,
They're
generally really excited
Photoshop
for it,
and just
they're really
use the
happy
corner and
even
just
with the
make
role
it
change.
bigger.
So I've been really happy about that.
Give him a bigger fist.
Still got Thanos size. Yeah, pretty much Thanos.
Oh, but yeah,
I want to find out how these changes happen. Like someday a diff shows up and he often's like, "How about?"
I wonder how his ult's gonna work. Because when he ults, you lose a tank.
I mean,
that's a
to
lot.
speak to that actually,
they're probably reworking his ultimate completely.
You know,
yeah, that makes
part
sense.
of one of the major sort of
better. That
we were trying to get at for the combat of the
his
game
abilities are better than his ult.
Reduce crowd control effects a lot, so a lot less stuns, especially hard crowd control effects. So, and you know, we're looking at Mei, and we changed how Mei's freeze work. It only works on our ult now.
I don't know why they haven't put that in the main game yet. Even like at least put Mei's freeze in the game.
You're like, well, what do we do? This guy's sort of built on crowd control. So we either needed to basically go in there and change probably a lot of his kit, or like really reduce crowd control on how he functioned, which is hard, sort of a combo based hero, or move into a tank role. And you know, the tanks are where we're kind of allowing the crowd control and the hard crowd control to exist, so we could sort of maintain a lot of his feel and his kit in that role. And so that's kind of what we ended up going with, and it worked out really well. So, but yeah, as Aaron mentioned earlier, it has led to some scary issues with heroes that we knew were going to be maybe problematic because they're kept in check by crowd control, like Tracer, Genji, Reaper. So we had some plans to have some things in place to sort of reduce their power, but it really wasn't.
You can tell on his face, he's like so disappointed.
It's been like really interesting to watch a lot of that too, and like Doomfist in particular, you know, like.
Dude, even ML7 pointed that out. It's like, wait, my boss is talking. I gotta shut up.
The crowd control abilities of like all 6 heroes, you know, on the enemy team, and so it just kind of helps for us to center them there. And so like it made a lot of sense to move Doomfist that way, but at the same time, like, he was like such a fast hero that and he could be all over the place sometimes, and so like we did a little bit to slow him down.
Oh no!
Mobile,
why?
Like,
No.
There's been a change to his kit, and we'll go into like
you slowed
more
down
details
Doom
of like the change to his kit and to Riss's kit later. But like at this
okay, they're actually going to talk about it. They're actually going to talk about it.
To a Winston's leap to get in, you know, and so like his ability to initiate some of these fights is actually pretty amazing, and also like the cause of some of the issues that he has, you know, like imagine a Doomfist that's able to get in, is more survivable than he used to be, and also has like the ultimate escape to kind of pop out of combat. So we're kind of
does do a lot less damage though.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Right.
No more
kill? So don't imagine that.
You're scaring people.
I mean, honestly, like, it's also always depends on who is playing that Doomfist. If I'm playing the Doomfist on your server, you have nothing to be worried about. I mean, leaping in there, and then I'm just kind of and now.
I mean, that is
there's that. Now I want to talk about another brand new feature, which has not been getting quite as much spotlight so far, which is the ping system. I personally love it, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the process, why you felt this is necessary to be added. Like, what were you hoping to improve?
Yeah, what did they mean?
It works.
Yeah, so the ping system has actually been great, and I agree with you. There's
a ping system
there where it feels like it
they're making this
changes
more
the way you
realistic
play the game or think about the game. And there's a lot of reasons
Apex Legends
to
is
do a
confirmed
system
now as
like
an
this. You know, not everybody wants to communicate using voice comm.
You should.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, and those people are ass.
That's obviously not going to work. And then a ping system also, a lot of times it can be more precise even than voice can be.
That's kind of true.
It will use real world locations or in-game real world locations, and also like in-game context too. And so like
interesting.
Guys in choke.
Talk about that a little more. Like the ping system that we're doing, it's very
like a ping
context
be like
sensitive. So depending on
so
what you're pinging,
will it say like
who your who like what the other enemy team is,
how they
change
have theirs?
a lot of those pings. So like some of like the really cool things in it are
that's where they use like Nest or like
enemy players behind walls can't be pinged. You can't see them, but if they're revealed by Hanzo or Widowmaker, suddenly you can start pinging those targets. Some heroes can actually remove heroes from themselves.
So you can pretty much
like when Moira fades. Removes ping on her. She just used an escape.
So you play Sombra, go behind them, and just keep pinging them behind walls
in the game, like Bob. And also it's like totally customizable.
And they have the exact
not only is it context sensitive, but then we have something kind of similar to the comms wheel where you can select the different pings that are more important to you. So you don't always have to use the context sensitive ping. You can use all sorts of other different ones. And so that's kind of like some of the reasoning behind it, some of the features that are in there. But we've also gotten like a lot of like really great feedback on the ping system, even just simple things like, hey, it needs to be more responsive. The ping wheel needs to be more responsive, just like clicking the world needs to be more responsive. So we're working on that. We also realize it's not quite noticeable enough. And what we have in there is kind of our first pass on it, but we're going to start kind of like getting more there on like the visuals and the sound side of it. We're looking at more context-aware features. There's like a really great suggestion from one of our content creators to like for a support character, for them to actually have unique VO lines depending upon which support character is pinging. So like right now, if you're support and you ping, it'll say something like, come to me for healing. But wouldn't it be great if it was Anna and she said something like, get in line of sight so I can heal you? Or if it was Lucio saying like group up on me for healing and things like that. And so we're looking into a lot of feedback like that. We're also fixing bugs. Like right now, you can use the ping system when you're dead, and you probably ought not to be able to do that. It's been like a really like great addition to the game. We've gotten great feedback.
I love being able to see the world while I'm dead.
I'll just add too, like I think on the ping system, the conversation we just had about Doomfist, like a lot of these things obviously are a lot easier to show players versus us sitting here talking to all of you. I think just to address that. We're a week into our alpha. This morning, we significantly updated the balance for Orisa and for Doomfist.
Glasses, man.
So what we plan to do is, as we get a little bit closer to our April beta,
he couldn't even afford his earbud wires.
Say, hey, here's all of Doomfist's new kit. These are his new abilities. This is how much damage these things do. The leap does these types of things, and we will show that.
But he does have a statue of Reaper in the bank, which is more expensive than the Tracer one.
More descriptive, and more just visual. What does this look like? Like, we know that people most want to see that. It's a little bit of we're making significant changes through the alpha on these things, and we want to make sure that when we come out and we talk about the Orisa rework, it's explaining she has a javelin now as an aside, right? Like, we just changed a lot of how that worked this morning in response to feedback. We want to make sure that we have probably one more
she has a javelin
updating some of these really significant things before we come out with here's how all of that works and looks.
Exactly.
So Orisa uses a javelin.
Some patience.
Is that what he said?
See, chat ain't usually that good about it. I know you all are just dying to see content and features and like all the great things coming our way, but you have to wait a little longer for that. Now, more chat, of course, the more excited I get about watching, the first few official OWL matches and playing all that new content with my friends. Now, while I do love an air of mystery, and I still laugh about a good old Soon TM meme, is there actually a specific date set for when the beta will officially hit the general public who have signed up for it?
Didn't work.
April 26th.
They went
April 26th.
There it is.
That's be more direct than that.
Can't believe you answered that question, actually.
No one's ever asked this before. People just have to ask.
What day is that? I'm going to see if I work that day.
All right. Well, April 26th, then mark your calendars on this exciting announcement. I think we should be ready to wrap things up here. Aaron, I would like to hand it over to you for some last words to our community.
No, yeah, sure. This has been. Like,
oh no, really we want to hear him talk about more shit. Yeah.
What the team is like really looking forward to isn't just the alpha, but like the rest of what's coming. Like This is going to be such an exciting time for our communities, for our players.
Why is that what I come back to?
We're so excited for it. We can't wait to bring you along for the journey. We can't wait to get in front of you more, talk about the game more, talk about some of the things that are coming and our insights and some of the feedback and changes that we're doing. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. We can't wait to see you and play with you in the future.
That's it?
Wait, what?
That's
it? Oh my god, wait, that was it?
That was it.
Wait, what?
GG's.
Wow. Wait, what?
Wow.
We only got Doom news, and that's it, basically.
That was BG. Bad game.
They hyped this live stream up so well and released nothing.
I listened to none of that. It was so bad.
Wow, my disappointment is immeasurable.
Hmm?
What was he saying? Oop.
You notice they just immediately ended stream, so they just didn't have any backlash? They just cut it off.
Oh, he guessed the date.
Yeah. Insane, John.
It says, can I uninstall the last like 30 minutes of my life?
It was so bad. That was almost an hour of nothing, except telling us that just confirming Doom was going to be a tank.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta like, yeah. You know, one guy wasn't even there.
I could have gotten more content going to get me a sandwich.
Who said that?
That's what Terry said.
He smiled at it. I'm happy. You good?
I'm good. You probably just saw that too.
Hey, but April 26th.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is if you do get into the beta.
That true. Late birthday present for me? Whoever gets in is gonna let me play on their account? Yeah.
I think it would have worked better with drops, personally.
Yeah.
Like they did with Valorant and Hyperscape and...
Yeah, that would have been good.
No?
ML7's over here talking about wet in the bed. And that's apparently contradicting the stream you just watched. I'm about to grind Overwatch.
For me, creativity starts with what ifs. Like, what if it takes place in a white void? Or maybe beige? No, black. What if it's in suburbia? That's not right. What if it happens in the rain? Yeah, this is it. Now, create what's true to you.
So I'm just wondering how a brick is going to be useful at all in Overwatch 2.
Honestly, this was good. And about a media person.
Oh, he just already started playing Overwatch.
stuff. I mean, I don't understand that maybe you want the whole meeting to go like, how's it going, everybody? This is Aegon Killer from the Overwatch team, and I do have some good news for you today. Oh, lordy lord. Good news coming in, chat. That juicy content. Unfortunately, I only have one information I can share with you. You can't do this. You can't be like, oh, this overly excited and stuff, and then you just drop them stuff, and then you just drop them. So after 15 minutes, I'm just gonna give you the juice. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you want this to be entertained and stuff and shit, but it's hard to say, I'm so excited today. I'm so excited to share some things with you, and then you can't share. You know what I mean? If they had, like, green light to share everything, then that would be perfect. And yeah, obviously, they're paid to, like, appear in public and stuff and be able to, like, provide some hype to the game and shit, because this is, like, why they're the four that are over there, right? But, I feel like there's something missing. You know what I mean? I feel like there's something missing. No jokes. Also, the main job is developing the game. Overwatch needs a face in the developer team, kind of like that. You know, like explosive and stuff.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, Tarian.
I like Kagan.
That stream great.
I really like Kagan, but I feel like right now his energy with how pissed everybody is, it doesn't like go.
Only one
like
news actually, which is Doom and Ping. Waste of 40 minutes.
You know I mean, I love Agon's energy, yeah, exactly, but I'm more of a chill person. But when you have people that have been hating the game for a long time,
Doom's a tank.
Maybe more aggressive approach is needed.
Doom's a tank.
I love them, honestly.
ML7 Bonk.
I love them.